The spark of conception life's journey begins with one of the most astonishing events in nature, conception. Inside the female reproductive system, during ovulation, an egg cell is released from the ovary and begins its journey through the fallopian tube. Meanwhile, during sexual reproduction, millions of sperm cells are released from the male. Each sperm contains half the genetic instructions for creating a human being. Only one will succeed in entering the egg. When a sperm penetrates the egg's protective layers, its genetic material fuses with the eggs, creating a single cell called a zygote. This new cell now has 46 chromosomes, 23 from the mother, 23 from the father, containing a unique genetic code that has never existed before and will never be repeated. This code determines everything from hair and eye, color to fingerprints and certain personality traits. At the very instant of fertilization, a biological program begins. The zygote is alive and actively dividing. Within hours, it starts the process of growth, producing more and more cells. From this single starting point, every bone, muscle, organ, and tissue will eventually form. This moment is considered by many scientists to be the true beginning of human life. Although the zygote is microscopic, it contains the full blueprint for building a complete, complex human being. In the coming days, it will travel toward the uterus, preparing for the next stage, implantation, but the miracle has already begun. Conception is not just a biological event. It is the starting spark of an incredible journey from a single cell to a fully formed person. DNA, life's blueprint. Once the sperm and egg merge, the zygote holds a full set of DNA, which acts like a detailed instruction manual for building a human body. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is a long molecule made of chemical bases arranged in a precise sequence. These sequences form genes, each responsible for a specific job, from producing proteins that make your muscles work to controlling your immune system. Your DNA is unique. Even identical twins who share the same DNA sequence may still have subtle differences in the way their genes are expressed. This blueprint determines physical traits like height, skin color, and voice tone, as well as influences on health, talents, and even some personality tendencies. In a human cell, DNA is tightly packed into structures called chromosomes. Every cell in your body, except reproductive cells, contains the exact same DNA. The zygote starts with one copy of this complete set, and as it divides, it passes an identical copy to each new cell. This ensures that every part of your future body knows how to develop and function. The incredible thing is that DNA doesn't just give instructions once. It continues guiding your body's development from the earliest cell divisions through birth and even into adulthood. It is like a master plan that is always being consulted by your cells. Without DNA precise and reliable instructions, human life could not exist. This is why scientists often refer to DNA as the blueprint of life. It is nature's way of storing the knowledge of how to create, maintain, and repair the human body. From the first cell of life, DNA ensures that every heartbeat, breath, and movement is possible. Cell division magic. After conception, the zygote begins an incredible process called cell division. The very first division happens within about 24 hours after fertilization. One cell becomes two, two become four, four become eight, and this continues rapidly. This process is called mitosis, and it is the way all living organisms grow and repair themselves. What makes early human development so amazing is that these cells are initially stem cells, meaning they can become any type of cell in the body. Over time, they start to specialize. Some will form skin, others muscles, others the brain or heart. All of this is guided by the DNA instructions set at conception. As the cells divide, they form a structure called a morula, a ball of cells, then a blastocyst, a hollow sphere with a developing inner mass. By this stage, the new life has hundreds of cells, yet it is still smaller than a grain of sand. The speed and precision of cell division are critical. If cells do not divide correctly, it can cause mental problems. That's why the early stages are so delicate and protected by the mother's body. This cell division magic is what transforms a single microscopic cell into a complex organism of trillions of cells. Each cell knows its role, location, and timing in the body's master plan. It's like watching a construction project where every worker knows exactly what to build and when, except in this case. The construction is entirely self-organizing. From here, the growing embryo is ready for the next step, finding a safe place in the uterus where it can implant, grow, and begin forming organs. The journey to the womb after fertilization in the fallopian tube, the zygote begins traveling toward the uterus. This journey usually takes 3-5 days and is one of the most important stages in early life. As it moves, the zygote is already dividing into more and more cells, becoming a blastocyst by the time it reaches the uterus. The fallopian tube provides a safe pathway lined with tiny hair-like structures called cilia that gently push the developing embryo along. At the same time, muscle contractions in the tube help move it toward its destination. The embryo is also nourished by secretions from the tube, giving it the energy needed for cell division. The timing is critical. The uterus must be ready to receive the embryo. Its lining, the endometrium, thickens each month in preparation. If the embryo arrives too early or too late, implantation may not happen. This short but vital journey is not without risks. If the embryo gets stuck in the fallopian tube, it can lead to an ectopic pregnancy, which is dangerous and cannot result in a healthy birth. That's why the smooth transport to the uterus is essential for life to continue. By the end of this journey, the embryo is no longer just a simple ball of cells. It is beginning to organize into layers that will later form all the systems of the body, from the nervous system to the circulatory system. The stage is set for one of the most important moments in development, implantation. Implantation, the true start implantation, is when the blastocyst attaches itself to the wall of the uterus. This usually happens about 6-10 days after fertilization. Many scientists consider this the real beginning of pregnancy because the embryo can now receive direct nourishment from the mother's blood supply. The outer layer of the blastocyst, called the trophoblast, produces special chemicals that allow it to dig gently into the uterine lining. This layer will later form part of the placenta, the organ that provides oxygen, nutrients, and waste removal for the growing baby. Once implanted, the embryo starts producing human chorionic gonadotropin (HCG), the hormone detected in pregnancy tests. This hormone tells the mother's body to maintain the uterine lining instead of shedding it during menstruation. Implantation is a delicate process. If it fails, the embryo cannot continue developing and it will pass out of the body unnoticed. If it succeeds, however, the embryo enters a secure environment where it can grow for the next 9 months. From this moment onward, the embryo's growth accelerates. Cells begin to specialize rapidly, organs start to form, and the placenta develops to sustain life. Implantation is more than just sticking to the uterus. It's the start of a deep biological partnership between mother and child. The miracle of potential from the single-cell zygote to the fully developed human, the journey of life is filled with complexity and beauty. What makes it truly miraculous is that all the potential for this transformation exists right from the very first moment of conception. In just 9 months, guided by the blueprint of DNA and fueled by nutrients from the mother, This developing life will grow from microscopic size to a newborn weighing several kilograms. The heart will begin beating within weeks. The brain will form billions of connections before birth. Tiny fingers, eyelashes, and facial expressions will appear, all starting from that one fertilized cell. Every stage of development shows nature's perfection in design. The placenta will serve as a life support system. The amniotic fluid will cushion and protect, and the mother's body will adapt in extraordinary ways to sustain growth. The miracle lies not just in what is seen at birth, but in the fact that the entire design and potential were present from the very beginning. Even before the mother knows she is pregnant, the foundations for a new life are already being built. This journey from a single cell to a fully formed human being is one of the most breathtaking processes in the natural world. A reminder that every life starts with a moment of creation and carries within it infinite possibility.